switch it on here, and the thing plays.
If you'd watched my previous video, you might remember this dramatic little sound clip.
The Baroness, unheard. Come on, Rhonda, out you get.
Get away from me, Fenris. Get away from me. They're slaughtering each other. It's awful.
Marcus, get up, Rhonda. What's the fight about?
We're finished. Everything's ended. Ricky will be killed.
Now, talk sense, woman. Come on, pull yourself.
It's hard to imagine a time before TV and video streaming when families used to sit around in their living rooms and watch their radio. Radio plays post-World War II were very popular and most radio stations produced their own. This particular radio play, it's a Grace Gibbs play and it's called 26 Hours. There were 104 episodes recorded of about 15 minutes each episode. And it was about Major Gregory Keen, who came from M.I.5, and he was an agent that was dispatched to Berlin to intercept some diaries that had been written by an American general. And those diaries were so inflammatory that if they fell into the hands of the wrong people, it could potentially trigger World War III. So I'm going to play back some excerpts from the last 4 episodes. Some of the episodes have been over-recorded, but I have a few that are still intact. So I hope you enjoy.
We heard every word of it, carrying through the still night air and the gently falling snow of Berlin. Then the shooting started and the fight raged through the ruined border houses of Teltow. It explains so much about Rhonda Stewart, the Baroness Bolin von Seidlitz. But it did more than that. The fight and the shouting gave us the cover we needed to get into West Berlin. The Grumman diaries were nearly safe, and the 25th hour was gone.
What is it now? What's cooking in there?
Something very peculiar on here. There were sounds of someone approaching, then other sounds. We thought it was Keen coming through into our hands.
Heinrich, tell me in words of one syllable.
Whoever it was has withdrawn to the other side again.
Ricky, let's get out of here. Now.
There is nothing to fear, and I have told you not to call me Ricky.
We're alone here, surely when we're alone.
I am Heinrich Schiller at all times wherever we are. I will not give up the chance of capturing Major Gregory Keen.
You don't know that was Keen just now.
I am certain it was.
Can I go then?
I told you you should not have come in the first place. If you do not take a firm hold of yourself, there will be trouble.
Colonel Fentress appears at Teltow in the next suspenseful chapter of 26 Hours.
Things were a shambles, and it looked as though Tom Coutts and I were going to contribute to it before very much longer. I was dead weight. I couldn't help him at all. And Pavlov was shouting from outside for us to surrender the diaries. We'd have felt a lot better if we'd known that not far away, Colonel Milo Fentress was busy pulling the situation into shape.
What's happening, Colonel?
The troops and armored cars are on their way.
What are we going to do with this lady, the Baroness Rhonda?
There's a car coming from near Gartenstrasse, Marcus. She's going into custody for the murder of Benson Rose, of course.
She's acting kind of queer right now. I can't get a word out of her. Rhonda, now come on, speak up. Where exactly was the fighting we heard a while back? You see what I mean, Colonel.
Maybe she'd like it better if you called her Frau Schiller.
How long do we have to wait here?
We're not waiting at all. Keen and Coutts could be in a desperate fix, so it's up to us to pull whatever weight we can. Rhonda! Oh, confound the noxious pest of a woman. We shouldn't be leaving her, but we can't stand about for her benefit with Gregory Keen in trouble.
I'll have the key of her car.
She won't drive this car again. Look at the front wheels.
We'll have the key just the same. Now listen, Rhonda.
We can't waste time on her, Marcus. Come on. She won't get far. You can soon pick her up again if she disappears.
Right. Over to our own car. You know what I think, sir? I think she's gone out of her mind. She must have been half crazy to start with, to stick to Boland von Seibitz or Schiller all these years.
Yeah. I'll help you. We'll have to carry her.
Right. Cut. Up. Here we go.
We have men all around you in their team. This is your last chance.
You'll get the journals over my dead body, Pavlov.
Very well, Major Keen. Wait there in the darkness. You'll see and hear nothing till we strike.
Let them come, Major. They don't know I've got one of their Tommy guns.
It's a bad show, Coutts. You should have taken the infernal things and made your bunk for it when you were told.
Too late now.
I could still walk out of this ruin and lead them off.
Who are you trying to be? Captain Titus Oates?
You're an insubordinate beggar, Coutts. A man should shove you on a charge.
No, you'll have to shake it up, Major. As soon as we're finished with this job, I'm getting out.
So am I.
I'm going to buy a little powder. If the bank will lend me enough money.
I'm going to buy a boat and sail myself and Anna down into the tropics. Never want to see snow again as long as I live. Look here, why buy a powered helm at all? Why not set up one of those beach-going bars on an island in the Caribbean, eh? Much better fun and you wouldn't have to pay any taxes.
And have you on my doorstep swigging down all my best rum?
My credit's good.
It doesn't sound bad from where we are right now, does it, Major?
Sounds wonderful. We are up against it, aren't we?
About the same as we've been since you and me and Mr. Harris started off across the border.
Well, if you were Pavlov, how would you cope?
Well, what could be simpler than lobbing a grenade in on us?
Suppose you forgot to bring any grenades.
See those windows up there? Stand back from them a bit. If there's any floor or beams there for you to stand on, then you'd be in pitch darkness. You could take your time and get us both with 2 short bursts. Or from the top of the wall. Anything.
What's holding Pavlov up?
Maybe he still wants you alive. You could tell him how Mr. Harris was smuggled into his MVD. Yeah, I'll bet that's something he'd give quids to know.
Well, if it looks like pulling it off, put a bullet into me, Richard.
Yes, sir. And I don't have to be asked.
I'm going downhill, Tom.
See if you can't last it out.
I've been losing blood again since we ran for it across the border. No, leave the belt strapped around it. If you take it off, it'll run all over the place.
If we're really going to catch it after giving them the slip so often, all I ask is just one shot at Comrade Flaming Pavlov.
I think Pavlov is more likely to stay in the background.
Shh. What is it? I thought I heard a sort of scraping and gasping, as it were.
Let's keep absolutely quiet for a minute or two.
I heard Pavlov's voice here. Somewhere just about here. He thinks I am dead, but not yet. I will evenly score with Pavlov. As long as my name is Boland von Seibitz, find a place to shoot from. When he crosses the clearing, when he goes back behind his iron curtain. You should never leave guns. Why about Pavlov? Should always be sure a man is dead. I could have taught you that. You killed all my men, but not me. I get you yet, Pavlov. Shoot you. I get told yet, Pavlov.
What did you make of it? It's someone dragging themselves along the ground.
Could you see anything, Coutts?
No. But whoever he was making his way out of the face of
He caught a few words in German, so it's probably one of Schiller's men.
If we weren't the main objects of Pavlov's attention, There'd be some interesting things going on here in the dark tonight.
Well, it'd be a help to know whose side that fellow was on. What the devil's holding Pavlov up? If he wants those diaries, why doesn't he come and get them?
You cannot shoot from those high windows, Valensky. There are no beams to stand on.
No, Pavlov.
We have no grenades. Very well. We must take Major Keen by direct assault. The ruin here and his companion are in has 2 ground level windows and 1 door. You, Valensky, Sergei, you, Caravan. You'll take up your position from the machine guns at the windows and the door. On my signal, you'll all fly into the ruin together. You're clear on that?
No.
To your stations then, and await my orders. There's little chance of taking Keen alive, so we'll be content with his diaries. Now make haste. We cannot stay here forever. Our struggle with Sheila will bring troops at any moment.
What do you make of it?
I can't see enough from here to say, Colonel Peppers.
Well, that Russian voice we heard just now was someone giving orders. Now, enough of a smattering to know that. He caught something about all shooting together on the signal.
What's that? There's one of them just ran across.
What's he doing there? Can't see.
I think he's getting ready to fire a Tommy gun through that window.
You sure? Can you make out enough in this light?
I can make out enough, and I'm sure. Keen's in that building, yes. Yes, you see there? Another one crawling on his hands and knees to the door.
What sort of a shot are you, Marcus?
This is one shot I'm not going to miss. I'm going to drop that guy at the window, sprint for it, and dive through.
If you do miss him, we're both going to get a burst.
I'm going to count a slow 3. On 3, go flat in your face, sir, in case the guy at the door turns and let's fly in this direction.
All right. Start counting.
In just one moment, I want to line that buster up real good.
There's a bloke at the window and one outside the door, Major.
That covers the whole room. Well, we just have to take it.
They're all going to start shooting at once.
How many can you guarantee, Coutts?
1 for sure, sir. 2 maybe. But if they get a blow from the 3rd window, we're going to get sprayed.
Oh, well. Had our share of luck.
I'll cut one of them in odds. Why should we wait for it? I'm going to take the bloke outside the door right now.
Hold your fire in there, Keen. I'm cutting through the window.
The bloke at the door is mine. Gotcha.
Well, howdy, friends.
Marcus, what is this? The bugle call and the cavalry charging over the hill?
No cavalry, Keen, but if you listen carefully, you'll hear armored cars. 3 of them.
Show's over, is it?
Yes, Gregory Keen, for your the show is over. Farewell from Punjab.
Well, gentlemen, from the recorded voice of Gregory Keen on this tape recording machine, you've heard, to the conclusion of his knowledge of it, the story of the desperate and terrible affair we called Operation Cointreau. They say that out of evil comes good. Well, I don't know. The Gourmand diaries were fundamentally an evil thing, set down by a man who no doubt thought he was right, but nevertheless documents of tragically misguided content. And they brought nothing but tragedy and horror in their train. Major Keen and Sergeant Coutts bore the brunt of the action, not because others were less willing, but because it fell to them. The American Johnny Marcus, for instance, played his part with gallantry and courage when he was called upon. And then we had to say goodbye to Romilly, Justin Harris, gentlemen, for whom there is no posthumous honor, because as anyone can tell you, we're not at war. Harris took his own life and mocked the others while he did it. He took his secrets with him, and they're still inviolate. Of all the others, few are left. The Baroness Rhonda Boland von Seifert's mind is unhinged because she was unbalanced to begin with, or because of the carnage she saw when Pavlov and her husband's men fought in the ruins. I can't say. In his account of the affair, Gregory Keen didn't dwell on the struggle that took place, but it was fought in the snow and the rubble of Teltow in Berlin, with pitiless and malignant fury. You all know its outcome.
But that's the whole point, Fentress. We don't.
What's happened about Keen?
Let him know.
I'm coming to that. When the armored cars turned up at Teltoff, Tom Coutts was out in the open with his machine gun, making a fight of it. And I'm happy to be able to say that Coutts ran the gauntlet from first to last and didn't get so much as a scratch. Heinrich Schiller, or the Baron Berlin von Seidlitz, call him what you like, was practically dead on his feet. But his hatred spurred him on to even the score with Pavlov. He shot Pavlov off the top of a wall, where he'd gone to make sure of Gregory Keen. And I saw this with my own eyes. He kept his machine gun trained on Pavlov all the way down to the ground. But after that, his bullets were flying wild all over the place. And Gregory Keen took 3 of them in the chest. And so we come to the last chapter of the 26 Hours, gentlemen. And it's up to me to tell you that. The troops took care of the rest of Pavlov's men. It was just a matter of rounding them up. We were interested in the diaries and Keen. And Keen was in a very bad way. There, in the border ruins, gentlemen, Major Gregory Keen was dying.
Get out of the way, you fellas! Get out of the way! Get back to your armored cars! Make way!
All right, steady on, Sergeant.
Poking lot of grease muggers.
Where's that doctor, Colonel Pinterest? He's being called in by radio. He'll be here all at once.
He's dying. That was half a minute ago. Just another half a minute. And that crazy Jerry Butcher had to pump 3 more slugs into him. And he didn't even know what he was shooting at. If Heinrich Schiller was alive now, I'd drag him back to Motorhouse and beat him into his own oven.
Come along, Coutts. Get a grip on this.
You there. I told you to get away from Major Keen. You poke your pigeon, I stand back and I'll smash it for you. That's what I'll do.
Marcus! Coming, Colonel. I want to work with you. Marcus, you see Tom Coutts?
I'm not going near him, sir.
That's just what I want you to do. They're still rounding Pavlov's fellows up, and I'm afraid Coutts might run wild. I have to rush to the Gartenstrasse with the diaries in an armored car, so stay close to Coutts, will you, my good fellow?
Yeah, sure.
You'll be in charge here. See that the doctor gets everything he needs. Give any orders you like in my name.
Yes, sir.
But whatever you do, keep an eye on Coutts.
Before you go, Keen's quite definitely done for, isn't he?
Yes, I'm afraid so, man.
What terrible luck. What horrible luck. Captain Morris, where's that doctor? What's the matter with him? Oh, take it easy, Coutts. Take it easy. I was out there. I had a Tommy gun, but I was looking at everyone but Schiller. I could have cut him in halves. I could have dropped him with 1 round. But I had to let him stagger about all over the place shooting wild. I could say the same. You couldn't say anything of the sort. You only had a 45. There's no percentage in blaming yourself, fella. Are you telling me what to do? I'm not telling you a thing except that you're not showing very good sense. We were all in it together. Gregory Keen's luck was out. If there was one of Schiller's about, I'd show him some luck. You need a drink. You need a drink, Coutts. Look, Mr. Marcus, I do not need a drink. All I need is one shove to that doctor who's walking here on his hands. Take a look at Gregory Keen, will you? How long is he going to last if that doctor doesn't show up? It's only 3 minutes since we called him. Give the fella some time. We're rushing him here to staff. If that doctor gets here too late, you know what I'll do? Yes. Yes, sir. Why didn't you shut up, eh? You're not supposed to be talking at all. Look, when you talk, it comes out of your chest. Now, you keep quiet, my Jack. Do you hear me? I don't feel so hot. Is there anything I can do, Major? Where's Coutts? You wonder that? Might be a good idea. You've practically got him beside you. Just wait there. I won't be too shakes. Good, man. Captain Marcus, I want your car. It's all yours, Coutts. Yeah, that sounds like the doctor now. Here, this way, Doc. This way, in here. Hey, now look here, you guys. You've been told 10 times, keep clear, put those cigarettes out, and get out of here.
No one will tell me anything.
Where's your coat? You're coming with me.
Where's Gregory Keen?
knocked about a bit, miss. I'll tell you as we go.
No, I can't. Daddy, please, don't you think so ever, Paul?
I just don't know yet, miss. He's taken some bad knocks and they're shaking their head. So hurry, get back before it's too late. And don't be frightened if I drive a bit fast, like. Well, you're the guy with the knowledge. What's he gonna do? Live or die?
I'm a doctor of medicine, Marcus. Not a crystal gazer.
Isn't that much up in the air?
Well, we've got one through a lung, another one through here, and one through close to his heart. It only missed it by a beat. All clean through with close range.
What else?
Well, of course, the left arm will have to come off.
A definite?
They used a soft-nosed bullet on him. It tore the arm just about off.
He is pretty tough.
Look, I'll give you a kiss. Say goodbye to him.
I'll be sorry to.
Oh, people die all the time. You can't stay alive with his sort of punishment because you're a nice guy.
What's in your veins, pal? Antifreeze for radiators?
The things I see it better be. This is one of them. I don't have enough sympathy to go around whether it's going to be an act, so I just try to stay content with being the best in my field in Europe.
Give me a demonstration on this character, will you?
Listen, what did he do in particular?
Maybe stop the war, in particular.
Please tell me. Right. Call my handler then and we'll get him out to the ambulance. And somebody kick these sightseers. What are they? Tankmen or something?
Hello, Anna.
Do you want me here? It is also starched in hospital.
You mustn't leave here, too.
Could you fix it?
No? I can fix anything. Anything but a drink. They won't give me a drink.
What would it be if they gave it to you?
Cointreau.
Don't let me die. Did your arm hurt when they cut it off?
No. But it's very important that it doesn't revolt you. I used to say, look, I've got two arms, kind of. Now I have to work out a new joke.
Patient, you want to talk. You be quiet and let me look at you. Whatever they have done to you, they've made you keep still.
You're supposed to be very good at your job, Dr. Martin.
It's a matter of percentages. The ones you keep on their feet, the ones you don't.
What's Gregory Keen going to do to your batting average?
Spoil a good month, Andrews. He's not going to make it.
And so we waited at Walter Grunter Hospital in Berlin while the remaining minutes of the 26 hours ticked away. And Gregory Keen's life was ebbing away. But I reminded myself that the best doctors weren't infallible, and Anna was still in with him. But then the door opened, and I saw her face. And what was on it, I'm going to tell you in the last 12 minutes of the 26 hours.
Chapter of 26 Hours and find out the following. Do Major Gregory Keen and Tom Coutts get through to West Berlin? Do Pavlov and Schiller exterminate each other like the rats they are? Does Colonel Fentress arrive in time in his great big dirty American car? Were the Groom and Diaries worth all this horrible bloodshed and suspense? And last, but not least, does Keen get Anna? Listen next week for the final episode of 26 AMS, short for Adam, signing off to let you chew your fingernails until next week, December the 18th at 8 p.m. Good night, kiddies.
The last 12 minutes of the 26 hours. 26 hours.
Colonel Milo Fentress is here to tell you how Operation Cointreau came to an end.
Well, gentlemen, there it was. Gregory Keen was badly knocked about. We had him at the American Army Hospital in Berlin. He was getting the best of everything, but he was going down the hill. The situation's a horribly hackneyed one, we all know that. You've a well-liked chap who's been something of a hero, who's taken some punishment, and who's at death's door. But it's none the less moving when you come up against it, and I make no apologies for having a bad time of it while the issue was still in doubt. Once a thing's an accomplished fact, of course, you can accept it and face up to it. But I waited at that Berlin hospital feeling very down in the dumps. They'd let Arno stay in with him at his own request, and then, just as the 26 hours were up, the door opened. I took one look at her face, and there it was. We were in doubt no longer. But I had to go back a little to the final closing of the matter of the Grumman diaries themselves. There were some very high American brass present, in the course of our own Colonel Wayne Craven. You remember him, Von Remer? Sure. Wayne Craven did most of the talking.
There they are, gentlemen. The Grumman diaries. The score in lives, you can count them up, is 37.
Yes.
As soon as this conference breaks up, they're being burned, the ashes dusted. These things aren't for army museums or archives. They're for the fire. I don't think I'm going to get much disagreement on that.
By Godfrey, now.
And now we come to Major Gregory Keen. We're told he's not going to see it through. I certainly hope Martina is wrong, but there it is. Here's the thing I want to bring up. Manfred Von Remer was soaking us $5 million in gold for these diaries. Now we don't have to pay it, largely through the efforts of Gregory Keen, his outsider Tom Coutts, and Johnny Marcus here. But Keen and Coutts did all the work, and we've had a directive from right up on high at home in the States that we'd be pretty niggardly Americans if we put all the $5 million back in our pockets. What do you say, Fentress?
Well, I had nothing to say on the subject at all, except that you codes can be embarrassingly generous at times.
Well, here it is. Major Keen and Tom Coutts have $500,000 in gold to divide up between them in the Tangier Bank, where Von Remer was going to get it. That's to let him out of taxes. Now, if Keen lives, will he be able to accept it, Fentress?
Not as a serving officer, no. But you see, he's turning in his active commission and going on another list. You always have it, of course.
Can he accept his share of the $500,000? That's all I want to know.
Yes, he can.
Right. All he has to do is stay alive, then. Well, the other thing, there's a citation for him and another for Coutts.
I only hope they won't be posthumous.
Yeah, we all hope that, I think.
Now, this is what I mean about American generosity. If Keen were here, I think you'd find he had a red face.
That's too bad about him going downhill. Not allowed to see the guy, I believe.
They let his girl in, the German girl, you know, Anna Hoffman.
Well, she's being looked after, too. If Keen doesn't go the distance, she can come to the States and so on if she wants to.
I think she knows that.
Well, it seems to be about the lot. Who's having scotch? You, sir?
Just straight for me, miss. Yes,
Where are you off to, Fenris?
Back to the hospital. Tom Coutts is waiting downstairs. I'll pass on the good news.
We thought we wouldn't have him up here until he and Keen could come up together.
That's not very likely. Not according to your Dr. Martin.
He should know. Will you give me a buzz if we're allowed in to see him?
Yes, of course. Excuse me, will you, gentlemen? There you are, Coutts. Thought you were waiting downstairs.
I'll drive you to the hospital if you're going, Colonel.
Where else would I be going? By the way, you're a millionaire or something. You're getting an American gong.
Yeah, it'll be all right for Sally, I suppose. Beyond Minnie. Do you think these doctor blokes know anything much, Colonel?
Hang it, Coutts, you're as well up in the thing as I am.
The Major looked terribly peaked to me, sir.
Well, I'm perfectly certain if I'd had an arm off and 3 through the chest, I'd hand in my chips without arguing.
Yeah, won't be the same without him, sir.
You'll get over it, Coutts. Time passes.
It's going to take me a long time, I can tell you that. They told me that was your car, Colonel. The green one with a little flash.
Well, you fellows, that's about the end of the story of Operation Cointreau. I went back to the hospital, waited. On I came out, and there the end of the affair was, written all over the girl's face. Of the loose threads, Otto Richter's working in a Czech uranium mine. If he's good, they'll let him out after a year or 2. Gretchen Adler, well, Gretchen never really knew what it was all about anyway, and the affair didn't hurt her or touch her. Rhonda Stewart was certified, and I think that's just about the lot. But you had to hear it, and you have. The whole affair of the 26 hours. It's been a long sitting. I expect you'll all be shoving off home. Pomeroy, can I give you a lift?
The devil you can, but not till you finish the story.
Oh, what hadn't I told you?
Why, when Anna came out of Keen's room at the hospital, when she had the expression that told you the rest of the story.
Well, what about the expression?
What was the expression?
Why, radiant, of course. What did you think? That doctor fellow Martinet didn't know what he was talking about. Cheerio, everyone. Gregory Keen will be up here on the embankment in a few weeks if anyone wants to pat him on the bank. Yes, that was Operation Cointreau. And about the only good that came out of it was the affection between Gregory Keen and his enchanting Anna. It was positively blossoming already. I wasn't going to mention it to that crowd of fellows just left, but they didn't hear all of the tape recording. Strictly between you and me, I shouldn't have this bit of record at all, but, well, I'm nearly 20 years older than Keen, and I know he wouldn't mind me playing it over a scrap. Now, let's see. How did that fellow Greg show me to work this thing? Oh, yes, that's right. Switch it on here, and the thing plays.
The thing about being made a fuss of, Anna, I feel such a perfect fool.
If you do not enjoy Gregory Keen, then you can give it all to me, and I will be made a fuss of by proxy.
You love me?
You are the world's most enchanting man. You have all that money the Americans gave you. I want to marry you for your money, please.
You're sure you won't get fed up with this one arm?
Oh, that is just plain silly. I love your one arm, or no arms, or no legs. But I insist that you must have a head. I will not love you without a head for kisses, see?
Yes.
And another thing. Men with one arm always look nice in a funny way. So that when you look nice in a funny way, other women will wonder whose you are. And I will be able to say to myself, that man is mine. Will you be?
I'll keep just a bit for Coutts.
Can I keep just a bit for Coutts too, please?
Wherever we are and wherever we go, we'll never drift far away from Tom Coutts.
Just now on the way in, there was Dr. Martinez.
Martinez?
Yes, well, he hasn't any sense at all. But I screwed a little bit out of him just the same.
Baby, what's that behind your back?
You are allowed to drink a little. Not as much as you used to. Not hundreds of cigarettes so your fingers are brown. But a little.
What is it? Whiskey?
No.
Don't tell me.
Yes.
Come here.
Keen. Gregory Keen.
And that was the end of Operation Cointreau. The end of the 26 hours. Good night.
In 26 hours, the third of the stories of Major Gregory Keen, you heard Tom Coutts, played by Ivan Vander, Colonel Milo Fentress by Moray Powell, Anna by Gloria Payton, and as Major Gregory Keen himself, you heard our star, Bruce Stewart. 26 Hours was an original story written for Grace Gibson Radio Productions by Lindsay Hardy and directed by Lawrence H. Cecil.